In the headlines, Supreme Court hears suit against Naira redesign policy as more states join suit. Katsina residents spend hours on ATM queues as Naira scarcity persists. Gunmen kill 2 persons, abduct 11 others in Abuja. And on the foreign scenes, Turkish woman rescued from rubble after 222 hours as death toll from Turkey-Syria earthquake tops 41,000. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has adjourned hearing on a motion on the consolidation of interest to join plaintiffs and respondents in a suit challenging the federal government implementation of the currency redesign and cashless policy. More states indicated interest in joining the suit originally initiated by 3 APC states against the Attorney General of the Federation. The Supreme Court had on the 8th of this month granted an ex parte order directing that both old and new Naira notes should be in circulation pending the hearing of the substantive matter before it.
Myself and my senior brother, Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna, we're here to witness the proceedings of the court. We trust our lawyers, we trust our judicial system, we trust our erudite jurists. And that's why we're here today. We are in court because Nigerians are suffering as a result of this CBN modeled up cashless versus currency redesign. That is why we are here today. And from the understanding we have from this court, the order made by these honorable justices still subsists up till Wednesday when the matter will be heard.
We are working towards solving this problem. It's a national problem, and we are working towards solving this problem. There aren't two sides. We are affected on both sides. We are trying to solve it. Please, I want you to know the government is not deliberately frustrating the plaintiffs. This is a problem that we are trying to solve. With a little time, it will be solved.
The court order of 8th of February restraining the defendant is still subsisting, and the court confirmed now, and the implication of that is that the old notes still remain as legal tender in this country. The policy or directive given by the CBN governor becomes inconsequential in the light of the fact that the court has extended the lifespan of the interim order it granted on the 8th of February to the fact that the old notes and the new notes, all of them are legal tenders in Nigeria. So until the motion or note is taken on Wednesday. So that is the current position as of now. Any other step in contrary to that will be in contravention.
And also, reactions are trailing the Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele's position that a further extension for the depositing of old versions of the redesigned notes at commercial banks may not be necessary. The CBN governor had, while addressing the diplomatic community on Tuesday in Abuja, stated that it was unnecessary to shift the February 10th deadline as the Apex Bank was working to address the chaos that followed the implementation of the policy. Stakeholders are, however, divided on the decision, which has implication on everyday lives of Nigerians. Chamon Jabeng reports.
The CBN governor's position follows a court order which extended the deadline to the 15th of February. The court order inevitably triggered confusion amongst Nigerians as to which deadline to adhere to. However, Nigerians who chose to follow the law were plunged into deeper confusion by commercial banks' refusal to accept the old notes. As more challenges continue to unfold for Nigeria's citizens, economist and financial analyst Audu Aliyu delves into the economic implications of the policy.
This shouldn't be the situation, because now you're creating an economic quagmire, because the other day I saw people going to banks and protesting and hitting and burning banks and coming into banks naked. Now what you're going to do, you're going to stifle the economy. You're going to make it so tight for the common man that you have nowhere to go other than to fight back. and that is anarchy. When the masses begin to fight, we should be fair to the masses, we should be fair to Nigerians, and allow them access to their currency. You have not provided the foreign currency, the new currency, and the old currency, you are taking it away. How are Nigerians going to access their money? Remember, it is their right to have access to their money. There is no way you can take people's food from the table and you expect them to be law-abiding. I'm not calling for people to disobey the law, but I'm making an economic prediction, as I've done before, that this policy implementation is totally wrong. That the only way for this policy to succeed is for you to allow the old naira and the new naira to run pari passu, because you have made the mistake. The CBN governor has made the mistake, and as such, needs to take responsibility.
As a result of the difference in the positions of the Supreme Court and the Central Bank of Nigeria, several establishments have refused to accept the old naira notes, which, according to legal practitioner Mutiu Akinsanya, is an infringement of the law.
So every institution, every person out there must obey what the Supreme Court has said by continuing to recognize the old notes as legal tender. So it's still a legal tender as far as we're concerned, because it's before the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court has spoken. So the CBN Act is also very clear that whatever is legal tender should not be rejected by anyone. So anybody who rejects a legal tender, a naira or kobo, as recognized by the CBN Act, is an offense that is punishable under the law.
International financial institutions as well as experts are calling for the central bank to give the policy more time and allow the old notes to fade out naturally over a period of 6 to 12 months. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Independent National Electoral Commission Resident Electoral Commissioner in charge of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Yahya Bello, has reaffirmed that to Nigerians, the Commission's readiness for the 2023 general elections, but said that cash is the only challenge they will face in paying ad hoc staff during the election. Bello stated this at a North Central Stakeholder Roundtable on the 2023 general elections. Noel Sampson reports.
The FCT Rec, Yahya Bello, said the scarcity of naira, which makes cash unavailable, is one of the challenges the Commission is facing, though it is not peculiar to the FCT. He however reassured stakeholders that the Commission's chairman is meeting with all available stakeholders to make sure the problem is solved ahead of the elections.
The Commission has made a lot of preparations. A lot of the materials we needed, we already got them. We have done some trainings. We are doing more trainings. We have made a lot of consultation with stakeholders. We have moved, a lot of materials and batched them to the area councils, which is the local government level. When you talk about the challenge, believe me sincerely, the challenge to this election, as we are going about now, in the FCT, and by and large, I believe all over the nation, is a cash policy.
Is to have an interaction with the main stakeholders in the electoral circle, for instance, security agents, religious leaders, the political class, and voters themselves, including INEC, to judge on the preparation towards the election. Now, this is one of the activities we are embarked on as an organization across the 6 geopolitical zone. Luckily for us, this is the last and the final one that we're having, and it seems that the reports we're getting and feelers we're getting from all of the zones seem to be the same thing. Citizens are concerned about their security. Citizens are concerned about the role of the political class in ensuring that when they come out on election day, that their votes will count.
The meeting provided opportunity for stakeholders to discuss problems and profile solutions.
It's a mandate to me, as in it's an opportunity for me, especially we the OIs, that the original inhabitants of FCT, because most of our people live in the rural area. It's an opportunity for me, as in to grab a knowledge here, to take it down to them, to create awareness for them, despite the fact that election is around the corner.
The election is a very critical time in the affairs of every nation, most especially Nigeria, that is the giant of Africa. Today we have been made to understand that The election in Nigeria is not just about Nigeria, because the population of voters in Nigeria is equal to the population of the other nations in West Africa put together. That means this election is not just a national election, it's like the whole Central Africa.
The Electoral Commission has been meeting with critical stakeholders with a view to having a free, fair, and credible election. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The continued scarcity of Naira notes in Nigeria is crippling several businesses, especially in the informal sector. Analysts are estimating a 20% drop in sales for consumer goods and 30% for cement manufacturers as the shortage of fuel and new notes worsens. In Katsina, residents go extra mile from queuing up all night to sleeping at ATM centers in the state just to get a hold of the new notes. Jamil Mabai reports.
It is 12 in the morning and ATMs are already crowded as customers leave their comfort zones to spend the night at the ATM centers. Despite extending the deadline, people in Katsina are finding it difficult to get cash, as the state with more than 7 million people has less than 15 commercial banks. Banks are overwhelmed as crowds beseech them on daily basis for cash. Elsewhere, businesses are recording huge financial losses as lack of purchasing power from customers has created an unpleasant reality, as described by Soraja Saeed.
Yanzu jiya shekaran jiya ranar Friday na je na cike tela a banki sai aka ban 10,000.
On Friday, I filled a bank teller. They gave me 10,000 naira. Somebody that will go to the market to buy bags of grain, what will 10,000 naira do? These people at rural areas will not accept transfer. That is why it has affected us. I was with a colleague at the market. We went with the intention to transfer money. He has the means to buy 100 bags. He bought only 6. The cashless policy is designed to reduce the amount of cash outside the banking system. But absence of cash means retail grain sellers like Lamis and Muhammad, whose businesses rely on cash for restocking, will suffer. Common sense will not take it. No one in the village will give you goods worth 2 to 3 million naira and you just give him numbers. It is insane. How can you leave your business, join a queue just to remove 20,000? We have to stay back and serve our customers. Poor network for digital transactions, a limit to cash withdrawal, has affected businesses and even students. Muhammad Adam, who skipped classes for a week, laments that his final year project will surely be affected. I have not attended classes for a week. I am writing my project, but I don't have the peace of mind to continue, and time is fast approaching. I don't have money to pay for my expenses to complete the project. Point of sale operators have been accused of charging customers exorbitant commissions. For instance, a 10,000 naira withdrawal attract a 2,000 naira commission instead of the 100 naira that was the charge before the naira redesign. To many residents of Katsina, extending the deadline for the stoppage of the use of the older versions of the redesigned naira notes means more scarcity, more queues, and more sleepless nights. Jamil Mobai, Trust Television, Katsina.
Thanks to Jamil for that story. To security now. Gunmen on Tuesday night attacked Munu, a community under Kuje Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. Reports say the gunmen sneaked into the community at night, killing 2 residents and abducting many others. A resident also said a provision shop as well as a drinking joint were also looted by the gunmen during the operation that lasted for less than an hour. He said mobile policemen were deployed to the community of Rubuchi, where a federal government college is located. The FCT Police Command spokesperson DSP Josephine Ade could not immediately respond to inquiries when contacted. And also, police operatives in Katsina State have neutralized 2 terrorists while repelling attacks on 2 communities and rescued a kidnapped victim. The command's public relations officer, Superintendent of Police Gambo Isa, made this known in a statement on Tuesday in Katsina. The police public relations officer said the kidnapped victim was unhurt while rescued, and many of the terrorists fled with gunshot wounds. He said that the police were combing the area for the injured and those likely to have died. The command spokesman also said another terrorist was neutralized along Danja Bakwori Road. According to him, the team successfully repelled the terrorists and forced them to flee with various degrees of injuries, adding that the police recovered few items from the bandits. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. What role can parents play against this menace? Do stay with us. Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Really, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. If you're just joining, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now, recap of our top stories. Supreme Court hears suit against Naira redesign policy as more states join suit. Katsina residents spend hours on ATM queues as Naira scarcity persists. Moving on to other stories now, an election-focused group comprising of experts have fainted possible scenarios from the forthcoming election, asking politicians not to indulge in divisive rhetoric that will further polarize the country. At an interactive session organized by Media Trust, the experts advised electorate to consider merit, not primordial sentiment, while making electoral choice. Kabir Lawal has more.
This year's general election is few days away, and the Media Trust Group convened the interactive forum for experts from various fields to discuss on issues and come up with different scenarios on the likely outcomes of the polls. Members of the discussion panel called on politicians not to be power drunk, but see themselves as elected to serve the people. Professor Jibril Ibrahim speaks further.
Power is enormous, and the capacity to do harm or to do good is enormous, and therefore the struggle for those seats become really a fight to finish.
Jide Ojo, a political commentator, said that elections are successful when the process is transparent to allow people accept the outcome.
Youth will determine to a very large extent the electoral outcome of 2023 general elections. Because when you had about 40% of Nigerian registered voters who are 18 to 34, and you had that to the 35 to 49 who are middle age, that gives you about 75% of the voting population.
The panel members called on politicians to provide the voting public with adequate and honest information on their policies and programs for them to make democratic choice.
Yes, I think it is because of the agitation for inclusiveness. The agitation for inclusiveness is usually driven by elite women, and they usually do so in their own interest. So they have been canvassing for 35% so that they are the ones at the end of the day that will come and get such positions.
The panel then called on electorate not to consider ethnicity, religion, and region or monetary incentives as they go out to vote in the 2023 general elections. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Religious, community leaders and other stakeholders in society in Kaduna believe that taking Almajiri and other vulnerable children off the street is not the responsibility of the government alone, but parents and the communities have roles to play. They believe that out-of-school children in the northern part of Nigeria is a social menace that needs to be addressed for socio-economic development of the region. Take a look at this report.
Children roaming the street without proper care and education is common sight in many northern cities. Despite intervention by government at different levels, yet the issue of Almajiri and older vulnerable children is still persisting. Teachers from Islamia schools and community leaders said the meeting will further assist in taking such children off the street.
It has reduced non-school dropout. It has reduced non-school attendance. It has made up the parent to know the value of education. It has made up the community that they have all the little one they have, they can contribute to support the goodness of the children in the community.
And by telling them that they are part of the society and they can do better because their parents neglect them or they are hawkers on the street does not give them right to see themselves as less people or people without advantage or people that don't have opportunity, but they will seize this opportunity to do better and show people that they are equal.
The representative from the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Social Investment reiterates government commitment to address the risk such children are exposed to in northern Nigeria and in the country at large.
Engage key stakeholders, including the parents, to show them the importance of having these children go and access this learning. And that is what we have been encouraging them to do. Is that there are many factors that lead these children to be on the street. Yes, the parents are to be admonished not to allow their children to roam around, but there are many factors that that contribute to this, and one of it is parental guide, and most of them have never been into the four walls of classroom. And the idea is that you just don't take kids off the street and take them to school. So you have to introduce them to some form of learning.
Vulnerable children who lack social protection and luxury of basic formal education but roaming the street could be used against the society if they are neglected by the government and the society. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Also, no fewer than 150 Nigerians were on Tuesday repatriated from Niamey, Niger Republic. They were received by the National Emergency Management Agency at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. The repatriation from Niger was facilitated by the International Organization for Migration. The coordination of NEMA, Lagos Territorial Office, Ibrahim Farinloye, who represented the Director General Mustafa Ahmed, received the returnees alongside other government agencies. The returnees included 98 males, 24 females, and 28 children, both boys and girls. And on the foreign scene, a 42-year-old woman has been rescued from the rubble of a building in the southern Turkish city of Kahramanmaraş, where she was trapped for almost 222 hours. Videos showed rescue workers carrying the woman identified as Melik Imamoglu strapped on a stretcher to a nearby ambulance. Kahramanmaraş is close to the epicenter of last week's earthquakes. Meanwhile, the death toll from the Turkey-Syria earthquakes has crossed 41,000. Turkish authorities say 35,418 people have been killed in the country, while the Syrian government and the UN said more than 5,800 people have died in Syria. And in sports, Nigeria's Flying Eagles will tackle Moroccan club Kaukab Athletics Marrakech under-23 side in a friendly on Wednesday. Ladan Boso's side were scheduled to face Central African Republic on Tuesday, but the game was cancelled at the last minute. The friendly against Kaukab Athletics will hold at the complex of Sportif Sidi Mohammed Ain Sabah, Casablanca at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. It will be in the team's last preparatory game before they kickstart their campaign at the 2023 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. The 7-time champions will take on Senegal in their opening fixture at the Cairo International Stadium on Sunday. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.